name is Jill Harris. I'm the voice of Suletta Mercury and Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury, and you are listening to The Gundam Watch.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. No. Go back on. Oh, shoot. Dallas is going to kill me.
Hey, B, I'm looking over these maintenance reports, and there's a problem in the hangar over here, and...
Yep.
Hey, B?
What?
What happened to the V-fin?
The V-fin? What V-fin?
The one that used to be on that particular Gunpla right there?
Oh, that V-fin.
Yeah, on the RX-78.
It's
the first RX-78 I've ever built.
It's a battle damage. It's battle damage.
Who's it battling? You?
No, it was battling the Zakro suit over there.
Okay.
General Romeo coming in, begin transmission. Should you accept it now, here's your mission. Take your pilot seat and turn on your television. Logging into the Gundam Watch. What is a Gundam? We're gonna answer that question. From back in the classics to the newer expansion. Explore the lore with Dallas, Moore, and Branson. Welcome to the Gundam Watch. Moyagare, come and join the Gundam Watch. Kashiagare, come and join the Gundam Watch. Yamigaeru, come and join the Gundam Watch. Dobeo, Gandamu, come and join the Gundam Watch. Brought to you by Geek Devotions comes another podcast to keep your feet in motion. Listening close and see what's all the commotion. Logging into the Gundam Watch. Dallas and Branson bringing their fandom to you with the passion of the veteran instructing the new. We're diving deep, but this ain't views and reviews. Welcome to the Gundam Watch.
Hello, Gundam fans, and those who may like to become Gundam fans. Welcome to the Gundam Watch, part of the Geek Devotions podcast network, network of podcasts. So devoted to let you know you're loved. I'm Dallas, and today, ladies and gentlemen, as we explore the world of Gundam, I have joining me my right-hand dude, the man, the myth, the legend, Branson Boykin.
Is he here?
Your name is Branson Boykin.
Well, you said something about a myth and a legend. I was confused.
Oh, I have plenty of myths and legends about you.
Not all of them are true. Some of them are very true.
I was talking about one of them on the way to Geek'd Con this past week, actually.
Oh no, I'm afraid to ask.
It involves tights.
Oh no. Oh, good Lord.
And you're trying out for a musical.
You see, folks, this is what happens when you have old friends, is they know all the dirt on you. All the dirt.
I was very proud of you. You did good.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we had Geek'd Con this past week, and we were going to try to record there, but we got caught up and didn't happen. So
we were too busy geeking out.
We were. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a blast. There's some cool stuff. B, what was a highlight of Geek'd Con for you?
Oh gosh. There are a lot of really, really cool things, but I actually bumped into a couple of my former students.
Yeah.
From my high school teaching days, and they remembered me.
And they didn't walk away.
Right. They didn't hide. That was exciting. But I got to chat with them, catch up with them a little bit, see how they were doing. They were both doing great, which as a former teacher, that's something you always want to see, is you want to see your students being successful.
Right.
So it was good to see them and chat with them and get caught up. So that was a highlight. I tried something new this year. Normally I take both my boys at the same time on a day during Geek'd Con, but this year I split them up and I took them, I dedicated one day to each one. And that was a lot of fun. because they have completely different interests. Like they went to completely different booths, completely different sections of the con.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to really invest in that aspect of them, and dedicate all my attention to it. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like my oldest, all he really cared about was video games. So we were walked around looking for vendors that had video games because he was trying to find a specific Call of Duty
Mm-hmm.
game. And then he picked up a couple of packs of Pokemon cards. My youngest, he was all about weapons and pictures.
Wow.
So yeah, we came home with a picture of Aang and a foam version of Stormbreaker.
Nice.
Yeah, but so I guess those are I broke the rules. I gave 2 highlights.
It's all good, man.
One highlight was catching up with old students. Then the other highlight was getting to spend some one-on-one time with each of the boys
Word.
and hanging out.
That's cool, man. I love it. I love hearing that. So it was a good time. Did you get anything cool?
Yes, I got lots of cool things. I got a commission by Roland Paris. So for those of you following the Spider Fan socials, you should see that picture popping up here in the next week or so when I release the Geek'd Con episode. I bought a collapsible Sword of Omens.
Ooh.
And by collapsible, I mean that the blade is short and it extends, so you could literally say thunder, 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 thundercats, ho, and the sword grows. And it's got the eye of Thundera closed on one side, so it looks like the short blade. And then if you flip it around, it has the eye open on the other side.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
Yeah, so you could do either version of the sword based on what your fancy is. And I gotta say, I want to hang on just a second.
Level 5 Gundam, 17 hours.
Level 4, 3 days.
5 levels.
Level 3, 2 hours a night.
Up to 140 parts.
Level 1, Gundam, 1 hour.
Near endless articulation.
Level 5, 10 hours.
Gundam, what's your level of commitment?
I should have prepped for this better. Sorry. The name of the guy is Blade Builder Brock.
Ah.
Blade Builder Brock. You can email him at bladebuilderbrock@gmail.com. He had blades from every anime you could imagine. He had a broken shard of Narsil that extended into the full blade from Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
He had He-Man's Sword of Grayskull. He had Rurouni Kenshin's reverse blade sword. He had the swords of Zoro from One Piece. He had all
I
kinds
thought you were
of
talking
stuff.
about
No,
Diego.
not that Zoro.
I was like, that would be
I
a
would be
weird
flipping-
extension.
I would be flipping out if he actually had an official Zoro sword. That would be crazy. But I got a chance to talk with him a little bit. And when you talk about someone who does what they do because they love it,
Mm-hmm.
that is this guy. Like
Word.
you could tell the way I ended up with the Sword of Omens was when I brought my youngest to Geek'd Con. I was wearing my Lion-O t-shirt that my sister had gotten for me a while back. And I come running around the corner and he points at me across the walkway and he says, you, I know exactly what you need. I know exactly what you need. I said, what? And he pulls out the Sword of Omens and hands it to me. And I start swinging it around and I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy this before I talk myself out of it. Here, take my money. Take my money. So I do want to get a shout out to Blade Builder Brock. If you are interested in collapsible custom made blades, he is the guy to talk to. He is super nice. He's a huge fan of everything. I mean, he's just a fan of everything.
Word.
And I can't recommend him enough.
That's cool. I'm so glad it's not my fault anymore that you bought that thing.
Yeah. You sent me in that direction. I knew to look out for it because of you. But in all seriousness, his excitement, his dedication to the geekdom, it made the buy really easy. So
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about some Gundam.
Yes.
We have one more set of the Gundam Breaker Battlogue to go through and to watch. And I'm excited about it. Hope you're excited about it. We'll get into our expectations a little bit. If you missed our conversation on the front end, about the first half of it, I want to encourage you guys, go back and check out what's on YouTube, and it's in the podcast feed. Just look for part one of this conversation. Cliff notes, Branson got excited.
Yes, I did.
I was eyeing some Gunpla at Geek'd Con, trying to see what would be maybe get you one. I feel like I gave you a Gunpla once though, a while back.
You did.
Maybe it was full
one of
Gunpla?
It was a
Was
one
it a
of the
mini?
smaller ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Was it one of the
yeah.
full on ones?
Right.
I gotcha.
It came in the
The runners?
yes. Or wait, I might have bought that one myself.
No, you
There-
bought one,
There was one you gave me, and there was one I bought for myself.
right?
And I think the one I bought for myself had the runners on it.
Nice.
The one you gave me was just a quick assemble thing. They were both the RX-78s
right.
because that's what we were watching at the time.
Yeah.
But
Dig it.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, Branson's got it piqued his interest in the idea of kit bashing and what you can do
Yes.
with the Gunpla, and so that's pretty neat. If you're not familiar with Gundam Breaker, this is a series that is it's based off of. It takes place between Gundam Breaker 3, Gundam Breaker Mobile, and the upcoming game Gundam Breaker 4, which should be coming out a few days after this episode drops. Depends on how fast I get to this. It's so
we're still recuperating from Geek'd Con.
ooh, yes. And so may or may not be picking up that game when it drops. I don't know. Celeste is looking at. She's like, she really, really wants to get me the game. So, but it's about Gunpla and about the world of Gunpla, and there has been mini series about it, and I want to give some feedback that we got from one of our listeners on last week's episode from Mikasi. Mikasi, let me know if I'm saying your name wrong. I know you're listening, brother. He's in our Discord channel, and he said was fun to listen to. Gundam Build Fighters is definitely better with more series under the belt due to Easter eggs, but the Gunpla series are fun all around. And so what he was saying is the episode we talked about Gundam Build was fun, but the series Gundam Build Fighter, which is a different series, Branson, that I really think you'll like. There's a lot more of them. I think there's like 3 different Gundam Build Fighters, and again, the Easter eggs, oh, they're special. They're awesome. And so I appreciate you, Mikasi. You guys check out our Discord. Mikasi also went to one of the pop-up Gundam bases, and he posted up some really cool images of some stuff he got from there. And go check that mess out, and all the other fun stuff.
I was kind of jelly of the one where he's standing next to the RX-78.
Right? How
like
cool
the
is
light.
that?
Well, it wasn't life size; it was man size.
Yeah.
I was like, "Dang, that's cool."
Right. And then our buddy Jay Money from Key Guys for God, he posted up earlier in July. He was at a Gundam pop-up at the San Diego Comic-Con, and they standing in front of the display that's advertising Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, which we may be hitting up ourselves. Not the display, but the actual series that comes out. So hey guys, if you're on Discord, check it out. Again, there's some cool conversations that pop up. We love to see your guys. If you have Gunpla, we want to see your Gunpla. If you got different stuff from Gundam, I posted up an image today. Celeste made me a really cool shirt that features some symbolism from Mobile Suit Gundam 08 team. And so, yeah, that's the thing. That being said, Branson, are you ready to continue this journey into Gundam Breaker?
I am. Maybe we should get some super glue first.
It doesn't work that way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll catch you on the backside of our expectations and watching this show.
Okay. Expectations. I expect that I really need to fix Alice's Gunpla at some point. I really shouldn't have been playing with it. But it was just so cool. Okay, focus. All right. Expectations for Battlogue Part 2. I expect an epic showdown between Barbados, Barbarosis. I can't remember the guy's name now. The Barbo, the Ganondorf looking Gundam, the big one. Epic showdown. I expect the hero of the last fight, the last big tournament, to show up at some point, because he's supposedly who the villain is waiting for. So I expect he'll show up at some point. I expect a lot of fighting. Yeah. All right. Well, then let's get after it. I am ready to see some Gundam.
All right, in the pod, ready to rock and roll. Got taco machine going. I'm gonna add a little extra salsa to that. Bing, there we go, like that. All right, expectations for the second half of Battlogue 2. Let's see here. Well, honestly, I'm hoping for some resolution to the story. It's a very short, very short story that we're seeing here. So I'm expecting to see this come to an end, but I'm hoping for a lot more action. Like the first couple of rounds were pretty fun. There's a lot of stuff taking place. I know it excited Branson to the nth degree, but I'm hoping to have a lot more action at the back end in an epic fight. I'm hoping for this to kind of conclude the way you would in a typical Gundam series, where there's going to be something special or a special upgrade that takes place within the heroes. Although there's 3 of them, and none of them are really specifically the main hero. But I'm expecting that climax that you normally have in your Gundam series, and a lot of fun. All right, how do you feel about that, Branson? You didn't like it? Is that what you're saying?
It's so pretty.
Are you okay there, buddy?
Okay. I know there is a lot that was a callback to things that I have no idea about.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize I probably missed 85 to 90% of the Easter eggs. But having what limited knowledge I have of Gundam,
Mm-hmm.
that was just cool to watch. Like, that was amazing. That was when they all like were fighting the Barbados. I'm saying that word wrong. Barabbas, Barbasaur,
Barbasaur. What did you say, Bulbasaur?
How do you say the name of the thing?
Barbatoris.
Barbatoris. When they're all fighting the Barbatoris, and
he's like, "Go, Pokemon! Get that Pokemons."
But that was an amazing fight, and I'll wait till we actually talk about the specific episode. But the last 20 seconds of the last episode were just that was the end that I needed. That was the end that I needed.
Oh man, yeah. So just kind of we'll go general, then we'll go basics. I would say that from what I'm hearing from you, Branson, this has really kind of captured the energy and excitement that you like in a series. Is what I'm hearing from
Yes. You? Yeah, absolutely. My favorite episodes of Wing that we've seen so far. My favorite parts of Mobile Suit Gundam, the movies we watched. My favorite parts. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the deep dive into the effects of war on people and the relationships that are forged out of that, and how friendships are tested. I mean, that's all really engaging storytelling, and I enjoy that for what that is. That is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I just want to see giant robots fight.
and
the battle display they had in these 3 episodes, where they allowed giant robots to fight,
right,
and they allowed to do it in such a spectacular way. It was, if you could condense all of the really cool parts of a Mobile Suit Gundam series into just a few quick episodes, I feel like this is what it would look like. Let's take out all of the slow storytelling and just have all the giant robots fight.
Yeah,
It would be this series.
It definitely was again, this is only 6 episodes, and each episode, let's use quotation marks here. They're like 5-6 minutes long total.
Right.
And so, I mean, they really, and what's funny to me, Branson, is they summarized a story better than some of the Gundam movies that we've yet to watch. But at the same time, like, really, if you really thought about it, this was like one episode really put together. But there's a lot of interesting world building that took place within that one episode also.
Yeah. I'm really curious, and I'm really eager to talk about the AI, because I feel like all of those AI were from different series that had I watched more of Gundam, I might have been more excited about. Now, one of them looked like they were piloting Gundam Zero from Gundam Wing.
Yes.
Or a version of it, because I saw it change into an airplane.
Yes.
At one point. Okay. But it wasn't oh shoot, what's the guy's name?
Hero.
It wasn't Hero piloting it, it was some girl.
We're going to talk about that. Let's break down the episodes and then we'll move on from there.
Okay.
So episode 4, Revenger. After a hopeless struggle, Ryusei and the others have been captured by the Runner prison. Now, the masked man finally summons his own Gunpla, the Barbatos. The Gundam Barbatos. His 3 opponents are in desperate peril as they face the demonic machine that tramples the battlefield with overwhelming power. All right, so let's talk about it, man.
I liked I'm going to call it Barbados for forever now. Barbatoris. I liked Barbatoros's look. The fight itself, the fight was amazing. But it lost a little bit for me.
Okay.
Like when they first revealed it, it was this big, hulking, menacing figure. And then once they got into the fight, I could tell, okay, it was definitely a formidable fighter. But maybe it's because it was a 4-legged Gundam instead of a 2-legged Gundam. I kept getting confused as to exactly which part they were fighting. You know, like it's like, I don't know why that hand is attached to that part. Like where did that arm come from? And then I completely forgot that he had a tail.
Right.
So I think a couple of times I just got turned around.
Yeah.
And I was a little confused. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I still liked the concept, and definitely because this is all about Gunpla and kit bashing, the fact that he put a bunch of parts together to make this 4-legged Gundam. Matter of fact, I can't remember, was it the first episode where someone like actually analyzes it and looks at the different parts that they put together to make the Barbatorus?
No, he kind of just came out of the ground. But what you're remembering is last time is he just like pulled different Gundams together, different mobile suits together, and built some on the fly.
Yeah. But I thought somebody like actually was like running a scan, and there were little blueprints coming up and saying, "Oh, this part comes from this, and this part comes from this."
You got me wondering now, bro. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
Or did I just invent that in my mind? I do that sometimes.
I mean, there is a guy, there is a character that we see. His name is, pull up his name. Kato Matsu. He's a researcher expertise with expertise in information science. He loves to play using computers, and as a hobby, he serves as a support engineer for Ayato Shopping Street Gunpla Battle. And he's from Gundam Breaker 3. So maybe you're remembering a scene where he did that. He does do that in this on the front end of it, where he's like analyzing some stuff. So that may be what it is.
Maybe. Yeah. But was he the guy that in the computer room that
Yeah.
was like, okay, yeah, yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then. Uh, I did think it was funny that uh, when he shot the special missiles that broke them out of their runner
Mhm.
prisons, it looked like the Snippers. I
I
actually
laugh.
got that. I got that reference.
I saw. I was like, "They're nippers. What the heck?" That's awesome. That was so cool. Oh
Yeah.
man, what'd you think of the stakes that came up? Because like all of a sudden, like it wasn't just like because like when it first happened, I was like, "What's the stakes?" Like he's in prison. Like you just disengage and you got your gunpla, but the stakes now are if he destroys them while they're in the prisons, the data's gone forever.
Yeah. Uh, it definitely added a level of uh, my mind went blank. Hang on. What was I trying to say? Like you said, it definitely raised the stakes. I think it. Do you know how, like on Star Trek, where if they ever get stuck in the holodeck, the big thing is, oh, the safety measures are off, and you realize that you're fighting this larger than life monster or whatever
Yeah,
that normally isn't a big deal because it's just a holonovel, but now it could actually hurt you.
yeah, yeah,
It was that kind of thing of this isn't a game anymore,
yeah,
you know. And it was like I said last time, it raised the stakes and made it, oh, this isn't a game anymore, but it is still, I mean, it is still a game. Like
yeah,
it's serious. You don't want the players to lose their Gundams, but it's still very much in the idea of a game. The villain is cheating and winning the game. He's not
hmm
destroying a colony or something like that. So it raises the stakes without making the consequences so dire that, like, if a little kid's watching, they're not going to get emotionally involved. Oh no, someone died. It's, oh no, someone lost their toy.
right,
You know,
yeah.
which is refreshing. I mean, it's going to sound like I absolutely hate the deep, dark, emotional dives into Gundam, and I don't. I love them. I think they're great.
Right,
But sometimes you just want something light.
yeah,
You know, sometimes you just want to. You know, if you've been drinking nothing but health food nutrient shakes for a while, sometimes you just want a Coke.
that's fair.
You know,
That's fair.
and that's what this feels like. It's if you really just want a Coke, this is a Gundam Coke.
Well, speaking of that, though, speaking of the idea of the lighterness of it, the motivation of our villain, we discover the villain is in fact the guy from the beginning of of the series, Kintaro Mahara, who, as far as I can tell, is an original character. According to his profile on Gundam Info, he is a Gunpla fighter whose activity in is based in America. With his great intellect, he conducts all kinds of research and analysis into Gunpla battles. Using an original AI system of his own creation, he has performed repeated simulations to steadily build up his strength. And so, but his motivation is basically he's mad that he lost and that was going to be his time to shine because he put all of his work into it and it was taken away from him by his defeat but from Takuma, who's from Gundam Breaker 3, by the way. And so with that in place, the final stroke of the battle, they took off one of his horns. And so he chopped a horn off of the actual gunpla itself.
Yeah.
So basically it's just like he's angry because the attention was taken. And
Yeah.
what I love, I genuinely love it, was Misa's response. She goes, "That's a stupid grudge."
Yeah. I had to
Celeste
laugh
and I
at that.
died
was
laughing
like,
at that.
"Dang." Have this big dark villain with this brooding thing. "Rrrr." And she's like, that's a stupid grudge.
Oh my gosh!
That was
But
funny.
what'd you think of that motivation, though? That's why he's all doing this.
Uh, again, because it is a lighthearted uh, show that actually makes sense for the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said in the last episode, my boys watched a lot of Bakugan,
Mm-hmm.
and their villains were similarly motivated.
Right.
They wanted to control Bakugan so that they could win in tournaments, or they wanted to. I mean, when you really get down to it, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But because the whole show is centered around this fighting, these giant robots fighting, that made it a big deal.
Right.
You know, it's a relative thing. So it within the narrative of the story,
Mm-hmm.
it's a perfect reason for a villain, because winning that tournament is everything. And if you feel like you were cheated out of it, and you're the kind of person that holds a grudge and wants to plot revenge, then that works. You know, compared to the motivations of, say, the original Mobile Suit Gundam or Gundam Wing or something like that, it seems kind of childish. But I get the impression that this is really geared for kids. You
Yeah.
know, they're trying to show off the Gunpla. They're trying to show off all the things that you can do. So, and for kids, losing a tournament is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, so I for the age group it's intended for, I think it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to recognize what you're watching
Right.
when you start it. You know, it's like I'm not gonna watch old school Transformers or GI Joe or Thundercats because I want to see complicated storylines.
Right.
Because I'm really worried about, you know, the value of the character arc. I'm gonna watch those for nostalgia because, oh yeah, I remembered when I had this toy that they just introduced. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So it's just knowing what you're getting into and appreciating it for what it is.
I appreciate the fact that while it is this again, we're calling it Gundam Coke here. There is a like the way the storytelling is done though, like it's sometimes you have these childish kiddie stories and everything is just flat. Like, but
Right.
there's real action here. Like
Yeah.
it's go, 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 go. Like it's one of those things where like, okay, it's silly, but I think it holds your attention really, really well, regardless
Yes.
of if you're in it for the cokeness of it or not.
hmm Well, yeah, and it's told well to where you actually care.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, when the guy is sitting in his basement and he's looking at the Gunpla and he's talking about how upset he is, and he takes those clippers to his horn to knock the horn off because he suffered this wound and now he will forever carry that wound. It's if you remove yourself out of it, you're like, okay, that's silly. Why would you do that? But caught up in the moment of it, you're like, oh wow, this is dark.
Right.
And
Definitely.
yeah.
Well, and by the way, just for our listeners, when Bryce and I say Coke, we don't mean Coca-Cola. We just mean all soft drinks.
Right.
We are Southern,
Right. Yes.
and
All
basically
carbonated beverages.
they're Cokes. So
Yeah.
that's what we mean. So that being said, Coca-Cola, if you'd like to sponsor an episode of the Gundam Watch, let us know. So at the end of the episode, the big baddie reveals 4 champions of his that come out of
Yes.
nowhere, which leads us into the conversation about the second episode, episode 5, The Mighty Ones. The identity of the masked man is revealed to be Mahara, who was defeated by Takuma in the final round of the Gunpla Battle US Championship. With Misa's assistance, Ryusei and the others escape their predicament, then do their utmost to confront Gunpla controlled by special AI characters that Mahara has created. Dun, dun, dun.
So I liked the fights with the AI better than the first fight with Barbatoris.
Yeah.
And again, part of that may be because, well, for one thing, there were more Gundams, so I got to see a lot of different fights. and it may have been also that I'm just more familiar with the concept of a two-legged Gundam. But it was interesting that these were AIs that they were fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a neat thing because this villain's clearly a loner.
Yeah.
He's not the kind of guy to have henchmen, but he's able to create these other Gundams and then have pilots fight them. And it makes sense because it's like a video game. A video game is going to have bots
Yeah.
that you fight. So the fact that he has these AIs, but and I alluded to this earlier, I feel like all of those AIs were references to specific series that, as of yet, I am unfamiliar with. I know that one of the Gundams looked a lot like Zero from Gundam Wing.
Mm-hmm.
The coloration was a little off.
Mm-hmm.
It was piloted by a girl
Mm-hmm.
instead of Hero. But that was the other one I really recognized. But I felt the idea that each character was significant in some way, and I was missing it. So I
Yeah.
was really eager for you to kind of fill me in on who they were supposed to be.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's break into some of those real quick. Again, this is the portion where we actually talk about the Gundams we have. The first one we'll talk about is Gundam Astray Red Frame Inversion. And the profile in here says Gundam Astray Red Frame Gunpla model is its aim is to utilize the frame structure for specialized human-like behavior as long as the required high maneuvering level is met. The machine will show a battle style that goes beyond human actions. And that one was piloted by a guy named Mr. Bushido. Okay. Who was from a series that I think you'll enjoy, which is Gundam 00.
Oh, okay.
And I pulled up a different thing that kind of shows the profile on him. But let's see here. At first, he is called the Masked Man in the TV series.
Because we gotta have the Masked Man.
Yep. But by the fourth episode in the second season, the name Mr. Bushido appears. Ironically, Graham, which is his real name, doesn't like to be called by this name, nor does he seem to acknowledge it. And so he's one of the big baddies from Gundam 00, which is it's an interesting series. I think you'll like it. While it's a space age show, the world seems to be closer to our world, if I had to put my finger on it.
Uh-huh.
And so that was an interesting one.
Yeah.
And so, but it's a cool gun. It's a cool machine, though. It really is a cool machine he's compiling there. The next one I want to talk about is, okay, here we go. Goof Crimson Custom. Now that one should have looked familiar to you. The Gunpla, which has been customized on a Goof custom base and has been reinforced with the same way as a Zaku 2S type. And the thruster capacities have been improved 30% and is now the color of crimson, suitable for aircraft efficiency.
Yeah, it definitely gave me a Zaku suit vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that one.
Remember Rambaral?
Yes.
So he piloted a Goof.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, yeah. He was one of my favorite characters from the Xenon Federation.
Yeah. And so that's what that is, the Crimson.
Okay.
And it was piloted by make sure I'm pulling up the right person here. A guy named Zahart Gallet, who is from another anime series, which it doesn't get a lot of love, but it's one of the ones that I think honestly you would enjoy also because it hits a little more of the kid stuff. But it's called Mobile Suit Gundam Age. Yeah, Mobile Suit Gundam Age, which I watched briefly. I bought a perfect grade. Was it perfect grade? No. I bought a master grade of the Gundam Age, the main Gundam from that series. Just a quick rundown on it. Gundam Age is a 2011 anime television series. It's a collaboration of Sunrise, blah, blah, blah. The series is directed by people The series is also similarly broadcast in Bandai. I'm trying to get to like a description of it.
The series is directed by people.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. At least it's not AI.
Yeah, at least. Okay. Here we go. Mobile Gundam Age, it takes place over the course of a century that encompasses the 100-Year War. Mankind has migrated its space colonies several centuries ago, and the war on Earth having long ended. Suddenly, during the advanced generation, year 101, appears. Oh, sorry. A unknown enemy appears and starts to attack the Earth, and colonies starting to a full-scale war. They destroy the space colony Angel in a disaster later referred to the day the Angel fell. In AG 108, which would be 7 years later, the UE attacked the once peaceful colony known as Oregon. A 7-year-old boy at the time and his mother, or had his mother killed in this attack. Before she died, she gave him the Asanu family heirloom, the age device memory unit using plans hidden within the unit. Flit begins to develop the Mobile Suit Gundam, humanity's last hope. And the idea of it is, it follows over 100 years this one family in this one particular Gundam that keeps evolving over the years.
Oh wow!
And so it's pretty cool. I think you'll like it. And
that's actually neat. So instead of following one specific person, you follow the one Gundam through the generations.
Exactly.
That's pretty unique. That's neat.
Yeah. Like that. It was fun. Again, it wasn't really well received, but it was fun. But the bad guy was from that. The pilot was from that series. And then you had another one, Ground Type Gundam Urban Warfare Specs. Customized Gundam based on the Ground Type Gundam, which operates under gravity, putting emphasis on its urban warfare. In addition to strengthening the armor and reaction speed, the night camouflage effects has been improved thanks to special paint. And this, my friend, was piloted by Yu Kojima. Is a fictional character from the Mobile Suit Gundam side story, The Blue Destiny.
Oh, okay.
You say that like you know what that is.
That sounds familiar. I feel like I should know.
I'm curious what you think that is.
Is it the series that explains the RX-78 in its prototype phase before Amuro steals it?
I have no idea. I've never seen this.
Oh, well then maybe I'm thinking of something different. There's a series out there where they talk about the White Gundam, and it's the RX-78 before, basically before Amuro jumps in it. And it's one of the reasons why the Zaku suits from the Xeon Federation are attacking side 7, the colony that Amuro lives in.
Did you watch some Gundam Origin? Not tell me, bro. I mean, I'm proud of you, but I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a trailer. I watched a trailer.
Oh. You must watch the trailer for Origin. That's all I can think of.
Is that?
That's a prequel.
Shoot, I'm gonna have to think about it now.
You ponder that. What this is, though, side story, Blue Destiny is a trilogy of Sega Saturn video games set during the 1-year war.
I have okay, I was way off.
I'm like, Branson, please tell me.
I'm not even.
I had no idea you had a cool childhood.
Remotely close. Tell me you know nothing about what you're saying without telling me you know nothing about what you're saying.
So
wow.
I have no idea who this guy is. I didn't even play these. I never play these games. I'm gonna try to look him up later, and because there's some places that you can look up and you can get the cutscenes from some of these games and see if I can watch it. So, but yeah, that's what that was.
Okay.
So the final one was called Wing Gundam Zero.
Yes, now that was the one I was familiar with.
And the specs say the Wing Gundam Zero, with its battle in outer space, the customization emphasizes air combat under gravity. Although the defense power is reduced due to overall weight reduction, it compensates with an excellent maneuverability. This is a custom. Again, remember these are Gunpla, and the idea with Gunpla is you can do whatever you want to them,
Right.
right? So again, the Death Sight turning into Gundam Livelence Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
He adjusted the Gundam the Wing Zero.
Uh-huh.
Now I need to walk you through a few things. The Zero system, we were just getting into that conversation when we've got to pick up Gundam Wing again later.
Yes.
But the Zero system that Gundam Wing Zero has, it's a specialized AI system that connects with the pilot. And it shows them every possibility in combat and then leads them to victory in the combat.
Ah.
With or without anybody living.
Oh, so it doesn't need a pilot to do what it's doing?
Well, the pilot may not survive by the end of it, and there may not be anybody else on the battlefield.
Oh, okay.
And it's a really, really intense system, and we'll get into it when we finish up Wing, but Hero struggles with it, and it gets really, really wild. In the early stages of it, like it really messes mentally with the pilot in a major way. Now let's talk about the person, the AI they've put in the Zero. It's a young lady named Four, who is a character that I feel really, really bad about from Gundam Zeta. Four, for all intents and purposes, is a test subject.
Oh.
She is an early. All right, rewind. You remember new types?
Yes.
She is what's called a cyber new type.
Ah.
The Fetties were trying to force people to become new types. Like they're trying to develop people to make them these advanced pilots.
Yeah.
And they would pilot these things called psycho frames, which resonated with the new type abilities. Again, all this destroyed minds, destroyed lives. It was terrible. Yeah. Four was a victim.
Oh, gosh.
And so here's a broken girl who has been basically tortured, her mind wiped. Oh, yeah. All this stuff. And then she's piloting the Zero.
I see.
When that popped up, I was like, oh, my stomach hurts now. I wanted to pull her out and give her a hug. I was like, no.
Goodness. Wow. Well, that makes sense why they would pick her, though, because dang, that's.
But at the same time, so like the whole thing was that they kept talking about it was that this dude, he picked really good pilots, but he had done some stuff to the AI system and then refined these suits so they were at the top peak and then threw them in there. Like this was skill. This was like a lot of thought process that went into making this stuff happen.
Yeah. Definitely made what's his name? The Masked Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's his name, Masked Man. It made the Masked Man seem very villainous. That's sounds way more simplistic than I meant for it to.
The villain seems like a villain. Shocker.
A contemplating villain. A villain who's playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah. Quite the conniving villain.
Right. He's thought about contingencies. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not working on the fly. He's a well-prepared enemy.
Yeah, definitely. So we have these out, and they put him on, he puts them on the ropes.
Yeah.
And it gets pretty wild. until the very end when Home Dude shows up. Takuma, he shows
Yes.
up with
His
his
nemesis.
with his Gundam 00 Command Quan, which is a customized Gunpla which adds elements of SD Gundam Command to the 00 Quan, as well as improvised defense thanks to the extra armor. It has many new weapons designed for both long and short range, enabling it to fight in any situation.
That one definitely looked the most customized.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, of all of them, it looks like it was parts pieced together, not in a bad way,
Mm-hmm.
but the others looked like they might have been designed exactly the way they looked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this one, it looked like because he's got the shoulder mounted rockets and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
he's got the sword kind of sitting in the back. This one looked like someone was like, I want to get this from this piece and this from this piece and this from this piece, and so it had a grungier, more rough around the edges look,
Yeah.
less polished.
Yeah. Definitely. And I pulled up a picture of the original Quan, and just to refresh my memory, which is from Gundam 00. And it is completely different. Like the Quan was white and blue with some green to it. It was very sleek. And this one you could tell like he bulked it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting mashup of this one right here. But as we get into the third episode and our final episode, it takes no prisoners. Episode 6, Under the Mask, Takuma has appeared at last, and Mahara unleashes the hidden full power of the Gundam Barbatorus against him. Thus begins the final confrontation of the Gundam battle, surpassing the imaginations of the Gunpla fighter.
I gotta say, this fight was what I expected when Barbatorus first showed up,
Mm.
and so maybe that's why that next fight was a little lackluster for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I expected this fight,
Right.
where it was like we can only beat him if we all work together, and then hacker dude, what's his name? Kodomatsu.
Mm-hmm.
He hacks the AI and flips them to where they fight against Barbatorus, and so they're all in there helping, and that was the final fight that I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that fight a lot more.
Yeah. It was definitely high pace, and fun. Like legitimately, like the way that they had the scoring of it, like you felt the adventure of it. There was a moments where I kind of felt like, and I got to go back and listen to it, but I could have sworn there were undertones of the music from Iron Blooded Orphans in portions of it. But it was definitely like a driving music in the mixer with the fighting stuff. Like they were like, again, they're in plastic models in a video game.
Right.
The guy's mad because you took my limelight. And, and like, oh, we erased my data. Dang, I got a new jump drive.
Right.
But you were like, go! Like,
yeah.
like
you can do this, man. You got it.
Like he turns and he's got that bow and arrow thing. You're like, no! And then like, all of a sudden, like the jumps up, and I mean, it was like that you felt like the way the animation came together with the action. It was exciting to be a part of for a moment.
Yeah, it was. It like I said earlier, it made you care.
Yeah.
About what's going on. Like for a second, you forgot about this was a video game. Mm-hmm. These people were fighting over whether or not they get to keep their toys. For a moment, you are in the battle. You were like, "Oh, this is right." And it was it. Like I said, if you could take the coolest parts of what I've seen in Gundam so far, it showcased on that.
Mm-hmm.
Have the giant robots fighting each other in these epic battles without the I've seen too much battle and I'm only 12 years old and I'm messed up in the head and I have daddy issues and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but can we can we talk about the very last scene of the episode?
We can.
That that was the one Easter egg that I actually got. Well, no, one of two because I recognized Wing, but to have the RX-78 show up at the end, piloted by Amuro,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this part right here. This part is for the older fans. This part is for the adults who are watching, who aren't, they're already sold on the Gunpla. They're going to go buy the Gunpla. This was just pure, hey, I know there are fans watching this. Let's give them something to enjoy.
Hmm.
You know, uh, like No Way Home was for Spider-Man fans. I mean, No Way Home was just purely a let's think about everything that people have ever asked us for in a movie and put it in a movie. And I
Right.
feel like this last few seconds of this episode was, if they're watching this, they obviously have a familiarity with Gundam.
Hmm.
Let's give them the original.
Yeah.
After seeing all of these big bulky remixes and remakes and everything, to see just the classic RX-78 come out with the beam saber and the shield and Amuro piloting it, it was I loved it. I loved it, especially because to date so far, the original mobile suit is my favorite.
Mm,
So to see the RX-78 uncustomized, just the
right.
pure RX-78 represented, it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with you, man. That whole thing where, and his whole thing, like, this is my final battle. Like,
Yeah.
it shows homage to the classic of it and showing,
Uh-huh.
because there's always debates about, oh, this Gundam's better than this Gundam, that Gundam's better, and generally, I mean, you could probably, if you were to lay them out, yes, most of these other ones are probably more powerful than the RX-78.
Mhm.
So to show the respect of what the RX-78 was to the fandom, that
Yes.
was a cool moment, and I
Yeah.
appreciated that so much. We live in an age where there's so much of, like, we're dismissive of where we come from. We're dismissive of history. Um, that to show the love and respect, I really appreciated it.
Mhm.
I'm in some Gundam groups right now, and, like, man, I can't tell you the amount of crapping they do on different Gundams and different stuff. Like, Barbatos, which is the base version of Barbatorus that you saw.
Uh-huh.
Man, they trash on him so much about, oh, it's trash. They hate the gun. They hate the whole series, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So to see them, no, they're not trashing on anything. They're showing honor and respect to each other. So I loved it.
Yeah. Same here. It's almost like when you see the Stan Lee cameos in the Marvel movies.
Mm,
It's like, yeah, we've got all this updated cool stuff, but let's remember where we came from.
yeah,
And to have the RX-78 in there piloted by Amuro, even in his classic suit, it was like, this is where we came from. And we're going to pay honor to it,
yeah,
which I thought
absolutely.
was neat.
And I put this. They could have put Armoro in several other things. Uh, he he pilots the Neo Gundam, which in Char's Counterattack, which arguably was the most powerful Gundam that he ever piloted. Um,
Mhm.
but it went back to the beginning, and
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah. It was very cool. I mean, the whole series as a whole was cool, but that was the cherry on top. That was the perfect way to end the series, I thought.
Yeah,
I thought it was
definitely,
great.
definitely. All right. Well, my dude, any final thoughts on the series before you give your final rating as to whether or not about it?
It like we've said before, it was just pure fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like not a lot of stuff is pure fun these days. A lot of it has a message it's trying to get across, or it has a point it's trying to make, or there's some kind of underlying thing that the creator just really wants you to get. And there isn't a lot of we're just having fun.
Yeah.
But that's what this was, and it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. I'm agree with you. I mean, it's just fun. It really
Yeah.
is. Um, again, I really I want to encourage you, Branson, to check out the Gundam Breaker stuff or the Gundam Dive stuff. And if you want to, that can be one of our next series we can do
Yeah.
on here. Because I just think that it's a world that you would enjoy, and because it is fun. It is the Coke. And the excitement of it is the homages, the nods to everything else. I mean, to see Zero and to see all the other ones present or elements of them present, man, it's just it hypes you up.
For
Cool
sure.
beans. So, Branson, if you were, we're wrapping this, brings in, if you were new to Gundam and
Mhm.
this is the first thing you saw, would you be interested in seeing more Gundam? Or would it just maybe only more interested in Gunpla series?
I think this would make me more interested in Gunpla.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because the narrative is so lighthearted.
Mm.
Uh, it wasn't unenjoyable. I mean, I had fun watching it, but it was such a lighthearted because we're talking about video games.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it would have snagged me for wanting to watch more of the series, but it definitely would have made me interested in Gunpla because of the customization.
Yeah.
You know, what snagged me for the whole series with the original Mobile Suit Gundam was that story. And even though it got dark at times, it was a deep dive into the emotional effects of war and asking hard questions, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Definitely.
and that's what snagged me for the series, but it definitely would have given me a taste for Gunpla and customization, and you know, because I'm still asking myself, well, what if I got this from this part, and this from this part, put them together, you know?
I gotcha. I'm curious with the lightheartedness of it, how you would feel about SD Gundam series because they're even lighter than this.
That's the chibi form Gundams.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. We'll talk off mic. I have an idea about future plans for the show,
All
just
right.
to experiment with some things. Um, but I am genuinely curious how you would feel about SD Gundam. Uh, and there's several out there. They're not all connected. They kind of all have that same homage to other things. I think the most recent one is available on Crunchyroll. So I don't know. We'll talk off mic and see what we can play
All
some
right.
stuff
All
down
right.
the road. Well, Gundam fans and those who would like to become Gundam fans, want to hear from you. Did you watch the Gundam Battlogue? Let us know your thoughts. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Did it hype you up for Gunpla? Did it excite you about the new game, Gundam Breaker 4? Not sponsored, but if you want to, hit me up, Bandai. Let me know. Let me know your guys' thoughts. As I said at the beginning of the show, I may be getting the game itself. And so love to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you guys want a review on the game? Let us know. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the maintenance report.
Cruise maintenance reports now loading in 3, 2, 1.
All right, and it's time for the maintenance report. This is part of the show where we take something redemptive from the anime that we watched and let you know you're loved and they're cared for, and there's a plan purpose for your life, specifically that Jesus loves you. And so,
Amen.
Branson, I have a maintenance report. Do you got one?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, I'm going to tag you in first.
All right. My maintenance report comes from actually something we just got done talking about, the fact that the RX-78 is at the end, piloted by Amuro, and how we talked about how it was a callback to the original, and it paid honor to that. It was, you know, like you said, the guy was like, "This is my final battle," and his last fight is with by look is a very basic Gundam, but it is the first Gundam. It is the Gundam that started the whole franchise, and the fact that they paid honor to it reminded me of this verse in Deuteronomy chapter 6, uh, I'm going to go ahead and start reading in verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. And when the Lord your God brings you into the land that he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give you, with great and good cities that you did not build, and houses full of all good things that you did not fill, and cisterns that you did not dig, and vineyards and olive trees that you did not plant, and when you eat and are full, then take care lest you forget the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. It is the Lord your God you shall fear. Him you shall serve, and by his name you shall swear. You shall not go after other gods, the gods of the peoples who are around you. For the Lord your God in your midst is a jealous God, lest the anger of the Lord your God be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. God is basically telling the people through Moses the lawgiver, hey, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget who brought you here. Because God knew that once they claimed the promised land, they would enter into this time of great prosperity. They would build great cities, and they would have huge, the walls around Jerusalem, and they would be wealthy and prosperous, and there would be generations of people who would live off of the success that God had given them, but not be old enough to remember when that success was fought for. They wouldn't remember being enslaved in Egypt. They wouldn't remember the miracles that God did in the wilderness. They wouldn't remember wandering around for 40 years. They would just be born into this, wow, look, I've got all this stuff. And God is talking about the importance of remembering where you came from. And I think that's something important that we have to do is we have to sometimes remind ourselves that we came from pretty humble circumstances. We're all born with this innate desire to sin. We are all sinners and we all fall short of the glory of God. And it is only through the blood of Jesus Christ that we are saved. And for those of us who have been Christians for a long time, sometimes it's easy for us to lose sight of the fact that we're we weren't always as mature as we are spiritually. We didn't always have the knowledge base that we have. There was a time where we were babes in the spirit, where we were young, and remembering that humbles us, and it pays honor and homage to the fact that God did a work in us that he did not have to do. And we don't want to become so arrogant and so boastful and so proud that, well, yeah, Jesus saved me, but look how awesome I am. Look at the events that I volunteer for. Look at the things that I achieve. We don't want to get into that mindset. We always want to pay honor to the fact that God saved us. It was his redemptive work that put us on this path. And without him, we are nothing. Without him, none of what we have now would even be. There's a line in a song that I really like, and it says, when I stand on the edges of Jordan, the saints and the angels beside, when my body is healed and the glory revealed, still I can boast only Christ. That says, even when we get to heaven and we finally get the reward that we have been looking forward to, the only thing we can boast in is Jesus. And so just like the Battlogue paid homage to what came before, paid homage to the original, paid homage to the RX-78 and Armoro and what started the Gundam franchise. As followers of Jesus Christ, we need to remember the day that Jesus saved us and never become so proud or so arrogant as to think that we could remove ourselves from that moment. That we are who we are because Jesus Christ saved us. And while we can certainly try to do good things for him, ultimately it is him that does the good in us. And like Ephesians 2 says, we're not saved by works lest any man should boast.
Yeah.
So we need to remember to always pay homage to the God that saved us and brought us up out of sin.
Word. It's good. I like it, man. I like it. All right, my maintenance report. Going the story. They had this really interesting redemption moment for our villain, and they're kind of like, hey, you're talented at this. Like, you have all this stuff, and like, problem was he got wrapped up in his identity and he kind of lost track of the importance. His love for Gunpla, and it became his identity. This whole thing of being the very best and all sort of stuff, and that's a dangerous situation to be in when you lose track of what's really important. I think about King Saul, and Saul was anointed to be king, and now wasn't necessarily God's plan for the people of Israel, but he allowed it to take place. And Saul was doing good for a while, but he lost track of what was important, which was honoring God. And he's like, well, I'm going to do it my way. And then it became I want to keep people happy. And it was all about who he was as king rather than who God was. And we have to be careful not to get wrapped up in our identities as other things. Not to get wrapped up in our positions, our identity, even not just, I'm a minister, I'm a pastor, I'm the host of a podcast and a show. You are a podcast host. Even your identity as a father, you have to be careful not to be wrapped up in that. What's important is our identity in Christ and what that looks like, what that means, and keeping the focus on what the first love is. I think about the book of Revelation and the warning to the churches: you've forgotten your first love, which is Christ.
Right.
And so my encouragement for you guys is get back to that first love. Refocus on what's important. And out of that, everything will flow together. If our going back to the show, if the guy had just, kept in mind, like, he loves the sport of Gunpla. He loves the idea of building these things and fine tuning these things. If he had gone back to that and you're like, man, I've lost, sure. But he held on to love, he would have done what he did. And this is my encouragement for you guys, even in the midst of him being lost, he was still operating in the things that are really important. And there are some people that they get lost in their identity, but they're still operating. But they feel like they can't go back. It's still there. The things that God's gives you, the blessings, the giftings he's put inside of you, they're still there. And maybe you're not in a season when you're operating what you're supposed to be. Maybe you're not in a season where you're operating where you feel like you need to be at the moment. But if you trust in the Lord, he's still going to use those things that he put inside of you. And he's going to restore you to where you need to be. So that's my maintenance report.
Amen. I like it.
Cool beans. Well, guys, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on our maintenance reports? Reach out to us on social media. We're on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Look for the Gundam Watch podcast. Comment on the YouTube channel. Let us know your thoughts. Branson, you got anything you want to plug or say?
For those of you listening to Spider Fan, like I said, I shall have my special Geek'd Con episode dropping in the next week or two. So be on the lookout for that.
Sounds good. I also want to encourage you guys. Branson also has an episode coming out on Geek Devotion's YouTube channel where he's interviewing some people from Geek'd Con for me. And John has a special Geek'd Con bottom shelf episode coming out, asking people at the con floor some different questions. And then we also have another bottom shelf coming out pretty soon where we were reviewing Batman 1966, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm looking forward to hearing that one.
Oh, believe me, it's it was a wild episode, sir. It was a wild episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay devoted.
Peace and love.